morning, pals. It's actually not morning, it's actually nearly midnight, and I just had the sudden urge to film this video because we have something very exciting today. Many weeks ago, I purchased these. These are wrapped up mystery books. I got them from Oxfam, which is a UK secondhand bookstore, and I think it's a new thing they've started doing, these wrapped up books. And I thought I would get a couple. I have no idea what they're going to be like. But then I've had them sat on my shelf for so long, and I've obviously not unwrapped them, I don't know what's in them. And I can't take it anymore. I want to know. So we're going to open them, and we're going to read them. I'll be honest, I'm sort of expecting they might be just random books they couldn't get rid of. But saying that, my mum had one the other week, and she got a Lisa Jewell book. So it's kind of restored my faith, and I kind of feel like they could be good, but I don't know. So we've got two here. They have clues on them. So the smaller one says thriller, gritty, crime, urban suspense. And the bigger one says mystery, funny, suspense, and moving. This one feels like it could be a hardback. I think this one's a hardback, and this one's obviously a paperback. But basically, this is a complete gamble. We are reading two books with zero recommendations, zero insight into what they actually are, and I'm going to read both cover to cover. This could be a fun way to find some new favourite books, or they could be terrible. Or I could have already read them. We have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm excited. Which one should I open first though? Because I'm going to open one and then we'll read it, and then I'll open the other one and we'll read that. I'm going to go for the mystery first. This says mystery, funny, suspense, moving. That sounds super fun. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Oh. How do you open these? Got it. I'm actually scared. Oh my god, no way. This is... I'm convinced this is one of the Richard Osman books. Wait. But this is mid in a series. Yeah, it is. Wait, I can't get it open. Okay, well sick, because I've read the first one, but is this the second one or is this mid in the series? Because that would be annoying. I'm going to Google it. I think this is the third one. That's really annoying. This is the third one. Can I even read this? I mean, the first one was kind of a standalone. I actually don't know what we're going to do here. I'm going to have to go away and think about it. Either I'm going to have to buy the second one and read the second one and then read this, which would be annoying. Well, not annoying, because like I enjoyed the first one, but why would they give you as a mystery book the third book in a series? That's actually kind of annoying. Why would you do that? I'm going to have a think on this. I think my mum owns the second one somewhere, so potentially I could read the second one and then come back and read this. Or if it's a standalone, I might just read this anyway. Because I've read the first one, I know like the vibe, and the vibe was definitely standalone. But, okay, we'll see the vibes and I'll get back to you. Alright, it is a few days later. I made the executive decision to go ahead and read the book. I decided that the first one was pretty much a standalone vibe, and I figured if they had put this in a mystery blind dates thing, they probably were also comfortable that people could read these as a standalone. So I started the book. I am on page 147, chapter 30. So I'm a good, I'd say a third through. And I will say that that is correct and also not. I don't think it's completely impossible to read these as standalones. The first one particularly definitely was a standalone story. It covered like one kind of murder mystery and then wrapped it up at the end. It wasn't really a setup for another book other than like the potential of the characters and like the Thursday Murder Club to continue. It wasn't that there were like cliffhangers or anything that the second book was going to explore. But saying that, the second book, which I have not read, clearly quite a lot happened. There is a new case in this book, and the Thursday Murder Club, it's all the same main characters, it's all the same like concept, those characters are trying to solve a murder. That is all standalone and that all makes complete sense. There are a few details where I'm like, what? For example, there are two characters who have got together who don't know how on earth that happened. So I'm very intrigued by that relationship. But there's also a few bits where they're like, there's a character they're talking to in prison who, I guess I won't say because maybe it is spoilers, but one of the characters they're talking to, I think probably was in the second book, or I've made that up, but it feels like the way they're talking about her. They keep talking about this like diamond heist or something that happened, and I think that must have happened in the second book. Or it genuinely is standalone and I've kind of just like assumed that. But there are a few details that I am kind of like, I think I have missed something. But I don't think it's essential. Like, it is all still making complete sense and I'm still enjoying it. So I don't think it's a problem. So we are going to continue, we are going to finish the book. And this is a very easy book to read. Like, the language is very accessible, the story moves quickly. It's still got that like fun element that the first one had while having those kind of like moments of like deeper themes. And I really love that they're such whole complete characters, because I feel like sometimes older people in books can kind of be written off as like just the old one, like the older character, and they don't really have a personality. And because this book is effectively made up of people who are in their 70s, their 80s, and they all have such full personalities and full lives, and they've got relationships and friendships and enemies, and they have dreams and goals and all this stuff, and it's very refreshing to read about, because I feel like that doesn't happen all the time. And it's obviously so true to like actual life. Like, we're all still going to have all of the things that worry us and excite us when we're that age that we do now. And yeah, that's very nice to read about in a book. But yeah, we've still got a good chunk to go, but I'm enjoying it so far. Hello. We are getting there. We're very nearly done. I am on page 336 of The Bullet That Missed, chapter 67. So we are very nearly done with this. We've got maybe a fifth left. I've also downloaded the audiobook, just, I don't know, to mix it up. So I've been listening to that a little bit as well, kind of going back and forth between the physical copy and the audiobook. And I've gotten through this pretty quickly. I mean, I can't remember last time I checked in, but that was like a couple days ago, and considering I've been quite busy, I've made good progress. It's just such an easy read. Like, it's light-hearted, it's quick-paced. I mean, even the font is like big. It's just like a gentle read. Like, it's comforting and easy. If you want something that's just like fun, it's funny, it's witty, it's easy, it's a great one to choose. Minus the whole like the little details that I still think were in the second book, which there are a few, but basically it's fine. I am following the story. It is pretty much standalone, so it's been okay. However, I would probably still have preferred to read the second one first. I think with like character relationships that have grown and just certain aspects, I think it would be more enjoyable if you've read them in order. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this is just me really reading into that. But we're gonna power through, finish this, and then we're gonna move on to whatever the second book is. We should be able to finish this, not today because I'm going to work, but maybe tomorrow? Lads, it's actually several days later. I was convinced that I'd spoken about this and wrapped all this up. I've gone on with my life. I've opened the second book. I've finished filming this video. And I was editing this video and I was like, I actually never finished speaking about this book. So I finished the book. Yeah, final thoughts. So I finished this by audiobook actually. I think I was in the library when I finished this, or like on my way driving to the library. I had a fun time with it. It is the coziness, the wholesomeness that you expect, with the fun mystery elements and the moving sad bits. I feel like it had less really like crushingly sad bits than the first one did. The first one, I think I cried in the first one, because the first one had a few bits where it was talking about like aging and like losing partners and friends as you get older, and that like hit me in the feels. I feel like this one didn't have that same content, like it just wasn't talking about that so much. Which obviously is like, it's a different book. They're not going to just do the same thing in every single book, so it makes sense. But yeah, I didn't cry in this one. I think I did cry in the first one. But yeah, I definitely missed a fair amount that happened in the second book. There were a few characters who were getting together and I was like, where on earth has that come from? So that was interesting. And there was a whole thing about a diamond heist, which I'm assuming must have had to have happened in the second book. Or it didn't, and it was just like the context to this book, and I'm assuming that. It was still perfectly readable, but I do think in hindsight I probably would have read these in order, which I think these are being sold as standalones, so maybe I'm just thick. Or I'm just like overly aware that it's a series and I wish I'd read them in order, so maybe I'm just being like, sorry, I'm really distracting myself because I can see me in the mirror. So easily distracted. What was I talking about? I don't know. I liked this. I had a good time. I probably won't now go back and read the second one because I feel like I know everything that's happened in it. Maybe I don't know, but I feel like there was a character who was in prison in this one who they kept talking to about something that had previously happened. And I think that person was probably the person who had done the thing in the second book. I'm probably not making any sense if you haven't read this series. Point being, I enjoyed this. I'm probably not going to go read the second one because I think this spoiled quite a lot of it. But we're now going to go read the second mystery book, which I actually already know what it is, but you don't. Suspense. So I'm trying to like build up the tension so you're like, what's the book gonna be? But this has been anticlimactic and I think just go watch it, enjoy. Pals, we're gonna open the second book. See, I'm kind of now stressed that this is gonna be like a random one in the middle of a series, but hopefully it won't. Okay, so our second book says it is a thriller, gritty, crime, urban suspense. So I'm assuming some sort of detective story or maybe like a murder mystery. I'm guessing that kind of thing. I'm quite stressed now after the last one was the third in a series, which I still think is insane, but I'm going to stop going on about it. Ooh, okay, this is not anything I've heard of. This is called Her Past is About to Catch Up. No, that's not what it's called. I think that's the tagline, that is not what it's called. I think it's called Running Scared. I was like, that's such a long title. Okay, this is not a book I've heard of. I'm looking it up quickly because now I'm stressed that this actually is the middle of a series. It only has 924 ratings, but it's averaging a 4.54, which is very good. And it doesn't look to be in a series, which is a good start. This says, when Alexis James falls out with her best mate Nicole over a bad boy, it's just the beginning of a chain of events that go from bad to deadly. Returning home one night to her high-rise flat, she is faced by a terrifying scene that changes her life forever, and matters are made worse when she is put into care in another town. Okay, I can be in the mood for a thriller mystery. Well, that's what we're reading, so I'm gonna get started and I'll check in with you when we've read this. Hi friends. It is about 9:30 in the evening and I have made it to page 88 of Running Scared. So I've made it to part 2. I've read the first part basically. I've actually kind of flown through this. Like I didn't realise I'd read that much. I think I've only been reading this for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, which considering I normally read 40 pages an hour is very quick for me. This is about a girl called Lexi living in Manchester with her mum and her, I don't know if he's her stepdad or just her like mum's boyfriend. He's like a very horrible character. Honestly, a lot of people in her life are very horrible characters. But honestly, what I thought this book was going to be about, it honestly might not be, because it's now that we've reached part 2, flashing to 10 years later. But there's like an incident that's just happened. So I'm guessing like that incident is kind of going to be like what we're unraveling for the rest of the, because there's kind of like, basically something's happened and it feels like there's kind of like an obvious this is what's happened, but I'm assuming because it's like a thriller mystery that's probably not what's happened, so I'm assuming we're trying to figure out what's happened. I feel like I just said what's happened so many times. But yeah, I mean, I'm only 88 pages in, so we've still got a long way to go. I'm going to read for a little bit more now. It's already quite late, so probably we'll only get a little bit more done tonight, but I'll probably check in with you before I head to bed. Hi. I think you can just see my little dinosaur down there. He's called Terry and named him after Terry Crews. So it is the same night, it's a bit later. I'm actually really tired, so I'm calling it for the night. But I've made it to page 140, so I'm probably a third of the way through this book. Like I've actually kind of flown through this. It's like super fast paced. I mean, the women in here are actually treated so horribly, which I know is like part of the plot, but it does make my insides like squirm because I'm just like, oh, this is so horrible. But like, I know that's the point, but like, yeah, even like some of the women, like there's a character called Nicole who's her best friend, and like, again, like she's meant to be, but she's just so horrible. Anyway, I'm absolutely knackered. I was literally just checking in to say that I'm calling it a day for now, but I made it to page 140. Good morning. How are we? I feel like, can we see the mess of my room or am I blocking it? I think I'm blocking it. Beautiful. I have made it to page 199 of Running Scared. So we're pretty much exactly halfway through. I've only read a little bit this morning. What was I on before? 140, so like about 60 pages. I do have to go to work now, so that's all we're gonna get done this morning, but I'm kind of hoping, I'm working a double now, so I'm gonna get back quite late, but I think I can still finish this today. I don't know, I just have it in my head because I'm reading this, for some reason this is just reading so quickly for me. I think the writing style, just everything moves very quickly, so like I'm not getting bored at all, so it's just like easy to fly through. The one thing I will say, which I find so funny, and no one else is going to relate to, or at least not many people, but there is like a kind of mob family in this book. Like kind of mob family, they're like drug dealers, but they're like, I don't know, they're a like sort of like crime family, but they're called the Harveys. And I'm a Harvey. Like, I just find it really funny because everyone keeps being like, you can't trust the Harveys. I don't know why they're not American, it's set in Manchester. I don't know why I did an American accent. But everyone keeps being like, you can't trust the Harveys, like, don't. The Harveys are terrible people, don't. I just find it so funny because like I'm a Harvey and my family are Harveys. I don't know why that's funny to me, it just is. But yeah, as I say, halfway through, gonna try and finish this tonight. I go to work right now anyway, so I just thought I would give a little update. Okay team, it is much later. I've done a double shift. It actually ended up going really quickly. I have made it to page 288. So I'm like, does anyone else do this? I literally never stop at the end of a chapter. Always stop mid-chapter. Don't know why. Like, I don't know what it is in my brain, because I feel like you get to the end of a chapter and it's like, oh, you want to know what's about to happen next, so you keep going. So I always stop mid-chapter. Just me? Okay. Anyway. Made it to page 288, so we are 2/3, I would say. This is, what is this? 401 pages, so we have just over 100 pages to go. I am calling it for tonight, so we're not going to finish it tonight, we will finish it tomorrow. But thoughts so far, the sort of modern day timeline is still super fast paced, super engaging. It's kind of like mob family, like, I keep thinking there's going to be like a romance subplot and then it keeps kind of not happening, but it's kind of like it's talked about. I don't know if that really makes any sense. I don't even think I said it in the last clip, but about halfway through, there was this like, such like insane plot twist that just, I mean, it's not the kind of book that like you're trying to figure out what's happening anyway, but I was literally like, where did that come from? I did not see that coming from a million miles off. But like, it was clever, so I was like, that's fun. I think I just fully forgot to say that in the last clip, which, I'm so ADHD, bro. I literally turned the camera on to say that, and then I think I just went off on a bit of a weird tangent about the mobs being called the Harveys, which like, I turned the camera on to talk about the plot twist, and this show I've just started doing American accents for you guys for like no real reason. The other thing is that I did say that there was like, right at the start of this book, there was like a first plot and then it cut to 10 years later, and there's this thing that happened and I was like, oh, like who you thought did it, I think it's gonna be something else. I don't know. No, I was completely reading into that. That is exactly what happened, and that wasn't like a mystery subplot. That was just what happened. I was here thinking like the book was going to be about what really happened. I've been here this whole time being like trying to figure out like who actually did it. It was literally just the person who they said did it. So anyway, we have about 100 pages to go. I am calling it for tonight because I am sleepy. But we should finish this in the morning. Let's ignore my hair. I don't really like it in plaits, but I can't be bothered to wash it. Whenever you see me with plaits, just know it's because it needs washing and I just haven't been bothered to do it. That's the only reason I wear my hair in plaits. Anyway, I finished the book. I woke up this morning and basically just powered through it. I was like, I'm gonna get this done. And I did. And I finished. This has a really different feel from like your classic thriller, and I can't really put my finger on what it is specifically. I think it's something to do with like the way the characters talk about like relationships, maybe. I really can't explain what I mean, which is like not a brilliant book review, but like there's something about the main character and she's like also kind of dating, and it's not a romance subplot, but there's just something like, I can't explain it very well. There's just something slightly different in like the style of this book that isn't like just your classic thriller. But yes, we have come to the end of our blind reading, blind dates with books. So it's funny actually, because we've kind of ended up with 2 books, oh, that are actually colour coordinated. That was not going to be my point, but they are the same shade of green. So that's super cute. We've ended up with 2 books that I probably wouldn't have necessarily read on my own. Actually, I guess I could have read this because I read the first one. But as I've said multiple times in this video, I would have read them in order, but that's just me. Yeah, I'm glad that I did this. I would definitely be down to do this again. I think next time I'd maybe try and get more different genres. I feel like I went for a thriller and a mystery, which are like not the same genre but like very similar. Obviously these are incredibly different vibes. This one was like super dark and like spoke so much about like very, very dark topics, and it was like a lot more like gritty, whereas this one was a lot more light-hearted and like funny at points. It was still very sad and moving, but there was just a general more light-heartedness to it that I think you sometimes get with murder mysteries. Next time I do this, it'd be nice to try and maybe get like a literary fiction or a romance or a dystopia or just something, I don't know, to mix it up a bit. But I am still really glad that I did this. I feel like it's a fun way to find new books and to go into them blind and you just don't know what you're going to get. We have come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do like the video. Let me know if you want me to do this kind of thing again. Or, hey, I'm taking suggestions. If there's anything else you want to see, let me know in the comments. Please subscribe. It makes me really happy seeing all your little faces. And I'll catch you in next week's video. Bye-bye!